Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for making it out today in a very, very rainy and windy day. We want to welcome you, first of all, to celebrating our 10th anniversary as an organization. In fact, it was yesterday. So both Katie and I are going to start a little bit differently, and then we will get into the presentation. So we'll try to keep it as short and sweet as we possibly can. So 15 years ago, when I was diagnosed, I won't get into all the details, I luckily or unluckily met this incredible young 21-year-old who had just finished treatment and had her stomach removed. And that was the start of MyGutFeeling in a way. We started meeting because everybody else, every time we tried to find anybody beyond 2 months, there was nobody there. So that we became our own support team. Fast forward 5 years through surviving 5 years and feeling that we were finally okay to maybe do something because we knew that there was a gap for patients, survivors, and caregivers. We decided to start MyGutFeeling. So I've just prepared something a little bit different, and I hope you'll just bear with me. It's been a bit of a long week. The two of us lost our stomachs, but we kept our instincts. 10 years ago, there was only an empty room. We put a table in it, 2 chairs, and a hot pot of coffee and dessert for her in the middle. We built a room, the door opened both ways. Doctors and patients decided with us to bring the questions, to share the answers. Now we share the table, and the room is full. Dear friends here in the room and our international live cast audience, our incredible patients, doctors, survivors, caregivers, and healthcare professionals, the ones with a stomach and the ones still on a gurney somewhere without one. Today we welcome you all to the 9th annual conference, but also we are thrilled you are here to help us celebrate 10 years. A decade later, I am so grateful. It's like home now. We built a room, a small house for an orphan cancer, for you to be cared for, to be heard, and to know that you weren't on the journey alone. We grew initially from Ontario, then to Canada, and then for 10 years, we heard you from across the globe, from the joy of clear scans to the ache and persistence of a few who are still alive or gone with the light. Welcome home.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Katie, and when I was 21 years old, I heard the words that you never expect. You have stomach cancer. Here we are today, 15 years later for me, and those words were not the end of my journey. On behalf of MyGutFeeling, Stomach Cancer Foundation of Canada, I want to welcome you to the 9th Annual Stomach Cancer Conference and to celebrate with you our 10-year anniversary. But before I say another word, and if you'll bear with me, I wanted to take a moment to see who is in this room, because this day is actually for you. So if you feel comfortable, and only if you feel comfortable, no pressure here at all, I just want you to raise your hand if you are somebody that identifies as a healthcare professional or a researcher. So nurses, doctors, allied health, dietitians, social workers. Amazing.
Welcome.
So Thank you so much for being with us. As you know, this is not just a way for patients to learn from you. This is also for healthcare professionals to learn from patients. And the tireless hours that you spend every single day helping patients, they are not unnoticed. How about our industry sponsors? Anyone here from industry? Amazing, welcome. So without your sponsorship, absolutely, this would not be a day today. So thank you very much for the work that you do. It's amazing. And now, what about the caregivers in the room? Who is a caregiver? Wow. So these are our unsung heroes, the love and sacrifice that you give every single day to care for your loved ones. You are the true heroes. And now, please raise your hand if you are a patient or a survivor. So when Teresa and I, we started this journey, we felt alone. But looking around this room, you are not alone. You are never alone. You have found your home. You have found your people. So whether you're here just starting your journey, looking for answers, looking for your community, welcome. You are here. So my gut feeling is actually a story of friendship. And one person I wanted to thank in particular is this lady over here. She has been a peer, a friend, sometimes a very annoying mother figure, like extremely annoying, you don't even understand. But I could not be here without leaning on this woman. So thank you so much for being here for the last 15 years. So 10 years ago, So 10 years ago, my gut feeling started out exactly like that, as a gut feeling. We had a feeling that stomach cancer patients deserved more support, deserved better awareness, advocacy, more treatment options, and most of all, hope. And now, because of the hundreds of people that have joined us over the 10 years, my gut feeling is now a community. So thank you very much for being here today. So today we're going to share some information, patient stories, grieve those that we have lost, and most of all celebrate every step of the day. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Before we invite our speakers, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge some of our My Gut Feeling milestones.
So normally we do a year in review. This year we're doing a decade in review. But just a quick couple of announcements, like housekeeping announcements. For those of you that are joining us virtually, you can register by going right to our website, and there's a registration button. You can also see our program booklet. There's a button there, and you can just flip through the program booklet. We also have the option of English and French closed captioning, as we are a bilingual country. Hopefully, in the years to come, we will have more languages. So, to begin, this is our board of directors, without whom we could not do the work we do. So it is, Katie and myself, who, as I said, 15 years ago was like a pesky 21-year-old daughter. If I was an annoying mother, she was a pesky daughter. So
she had to get that jab in.
Yeah, I did. So we have Dr. Natalie Coburn, who's a surgical oncologist from Sunnybrook, Dr. Howard Lim, who's a medical oncologist from BC Cancer in Vancouver, Emma Bernardo, who is a director with 30 years in nonprofit, Ramandeep Singh Baga, who is one of our directors and a caregiver advocate, Ramin Dravian, who is a director and a caregiver advocate, and Shannon Phillips, who is one of our new directors and a breast and gastric cancer survivor. And some of them are in the room. If you could just raise your hands. Thank you. All right. As well, we have a very robust medical advisory board. I'm not going to go into it into them in great detail. We have Melissa, who's a geneticist, Sav, who is a surgical oncologist, Dr. Brett Bresden, who was on our board but now sits on our medical advisory board. Natalie is also on the medical advisory board. Dr. Lorenzo Ferri, who is a surgical oncologist, Denise, who's a dietitian, Dr. Howard Lim, again on our board, Dr. Stephanie Snow, another medical oncologist, Dr. Christian Schultz-Kwok, who is a psychiatrist, and posthumously, Dr. Terrence Lee, who was on our board and also a patient who passed away. And so the 4 pillars of our foundation are support, education, awareness, and advocacy. And I just want to point out that that first silly picture of Katie with photobombing me was our first support group. It was the first night that we actually had our support group, and it was actually here at St. Michael's Hospital 10 years ago, I think, this week in April. Next slide. So support really is the heart of our foundation. It's why we started this organization. It's what we do 24/7 every single day. We are the after 5 people and the before 9 a.m. people. We have 2 monthly support groups. We initially started with one it was an open group. Not open, sorry, it was for patients, survivors, and caregivers. And then we really felt the need that the caregivers required their own group just because of what they deal with. And so that is their group, and the open group with everybody is every second Wednesday of the month, and the caregiver group is the 4th Monday of the month. And they have been going strong, the first one right since the beginning, and the caregiver group has been going strong for about 3 years. Peer-to-peer support. I'm not quite sure what to say about peer-to-peer support because it includes everything. It's phone calls, it's Zoom meetings, it's going to medical appointments, it's trying to get access for patients. It's trying to talk patients through what a horrible night or a horrible day could be with symptoms. It's laughing with them and crying with them. It's putting them together with other peers who are maybe going through what they're going through that perhaps Katie or I or someone, so we try to put them together. And we have stomach cancer journeys. We have some on our website, but most of them are on our YouTube channel, because one of the things we always wanted to do was have patients speak at these conferences. That was the whole point. And I just wanted to point out that this picture is one of the patients very recently who was a stage 4 patient. We helped him to get access to come to Toronto because where he was in Winnipeg, it was very difficult for him to get the medical needs that he needed. And I just wanted to acknowledge him. He passed away April 12th, and today is actually his funeral. So our hearts go out to his wife and his 2 young daughters.
The next pillar is education. So here today, this is our annual conference, and it's our crown jewel of the year. But I do want to remind everyone that we do also have webinars throughout the year. So they are in person and virtual, just to make sure that anyone can access them. So some of our past webinars included having diet and nutrition sessions with a registered dietitian. We've had oncologists talk about clinical trials. We've had surgeons. We've had whatever. But the nice thing is if you're looking for a certain type of information, if you email us and let us know what you're looking for, we'd be very happy to arrange a webinar as well. So your input is also very valuable here. And then we have a lot of patient resources on our website, MyGutFeeling.ca. So some of the resources that are in your tote bags are some of the samples of what we have. But we've been doing this for 10 years, meaning that we have a very large archive of topics that may be of interest to stomach cancer patients. So for example, although we don't have a talk today on the genetics of cancer, there is a lecture that is available online for you to review. And of course, our YouTube channel. So we have hundreds of videos. Again, a lot of these conferences have been recorded. So a lot of those resources you get to hear from the lecturer if you weren't able to make it in previous years. So really a large wealth of information there.
Advocacy is another one of our pillars. It is one that took a bit longer for us to establish. It was probably the more difficult one because it involved working with so many different people, but we are incredibly proud of the advocacy work we do on different fronts. One of the things that we are very, very proud of is the fact that in 2022, we were, I guess, instrumental in helping to secure over $16 million in grants from the Canadian Cancer Society and CIHR for stomach cancer research across 3 research teams. So 3 out of 10 winning teams were related to stomach cancer in one way or another. There was the genetic, so I sit on the CHARM consortium one, which is all about genetics because as maybe some of you don't know, I have Lynch syndrome. I'm also involved in health policy in the patient voice. So we sit on various provincial, national, and international research projects, medical advisory boards, and we do a lot of presentations internationally. We also extend our advocacy by attending incredible conferences to learn and to collaborate with others and to bring the patient voice to the forefront. So some examples of where we've been. We have been to ASCO. We've been to the big ASCO in Chicago. We've been to ASCO GI. I was just there in January of 2026. We have spoken a number of times in Montreal, and so the other big one that we have done and we have been very instrumental in as well is the International Gastric Cancer Congress, which happens every 2 years. And in 2019, we were the first patient advocacy group to present a workshop. We continued being heavily involved through being on the committees to organize the patient advocacy sessions. So we were at Houston virtually in 2022. We were lucky enough to go to Japan in 2023. And in 2025, just last year, we were in Amsterdam and we were the first patient advocate organization or voice to actually present at a scientific session. So if you know this sector, a patient presenting at a scientific session is a big deal. Well, it was for us anyway. And we worked with a lot of the other organizations in the US and internationally.
And then the last part of advocacy is access to drug therapies. So when Teresa and we started on this journey, there was only one type of treatment available, and that was 5-FU. And we've come a really long way with biomarker testing, targeted therapies, personalized medicine. One of the things that happens in Canada, similar to the FDA in the States, is drugs must be approved for access across the country and across provinces. And the organization that does that is called the Canadian Drug Agency. And while all the scientists are doing amazing work showing that the research is working and why these medications are working and advancing patient outcomes, they also look for patient input. So as you know, over the 10 years, we have asked for patient input to tell real stories about how cancer has affected them and advocate for why treatment and why new drugs matter. So these are some of the advancements that we've been a part of on this list, and we will continue to fight to get access for patients and get treatment options for patients every single day.
The last pillar of our organization is awareness. And this is the one I have the most fun with. I think we have the most fun with. It is really about the community. It's about, we started this in 2017, and so and over the 10 years, the first year we had 6 sites, and I have to thank Dr. Natalie Coburn, who gave us the idea to possibly light up the CN Tower on November 30th, 10 years ago, and they said yes, and we then asked around. So we had like 6 sites across Canada, and we are now well over 150 global sites internationally, including places like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the One World Trade Center, whatever it used to be, I'm sorry. In the US, this is where we really collaborate with the other organizations. At this point, I actually want to welcome Amanda, who is the new CEO of Debbie's Dream Foundation. And we work very closely with Debbie's Dream on this project. It's a huge initiative, and we welcome you to look for it on November 30th. It is actually recognized as a health day in the Health Canada calendar, and we always have different sponsors, but it's a lot of fun. People take pictures, and the whole world lights up in periwinkle blue. And then, last but not least, it's our awareness pins, which again were just kind of something that came out of a gut feeling, which was we wanted to empower the patients. And so we came up with, people would ask us all, how do you live without a stomach? And we would just say, well, we do, we have to. So we have these buttons for those of us that live without a stomach, and we have them in 5 languages: French, English, Italian, Spanish, and what I hope is a correct version of Mandarin. And so that is about the patient and the survivor and empowerment, and that is really why we're here. And so we'll start the program.
Okay. And of course, we do want to just say thank you to our sponsors who are listed here on this slide here.